To the Western Cape now, where the South African Reserve Bank will be in the province today. This is as part of its stakeholder and outreach program, the Monetary Policy Committee Schools Challenge. The challenge is aimed at improving young South Africans' understanding of how the economy works and the significance of monetary policy in ensuring the economic well-being of all South Africans. SABC News reporter Atule Joka is working the story for us and joins us now live. Atule, thank you so much for your time. So what is the MPC Schools Challenge and how does it work?
Well, good morning, Mkolisi. Fortunately for me, I do have someone who will elaborate and also make sure they bring us up to speed and explain to us what does this Monetary Policy Schools Challenge mean and what it seeks to achieve. But we understand that the South African Reserve Bank is here today. We're just inside the session. They are conducting sessions about the rules around this challenge. There are a number of teachers, representatives from a different number of schools from the Western Cape to just narrate all those rules as to how this competition will take place. I know they are targeting grade 12 pupils which are doing economics and also partaking in mathematics, just to encourage them to take economic studies and also to make them learn more about how the economy works and the policy framework in South Africa and how the South African Reserve Bank works in ensuring that they set that repo rate and the banking rate in South Africa. But I do have Thoraya Pandi from the head of communications in the South African Reserve Bank. Ma'am, thank you so much. I saw you conducting the session inside here. Talk to us about the session that you are doing here today in preparation of this MPC Schools Challenge. What is it all about?
Yes. So essentially what we're doing is we have a session for the learners and then we have a session with the teachers. And we essentially explain to them how the competition works. In a nutshell, what it does is 4 learners per school from across the country. And so now we're in the Western Cape today, and there are schools from as far afield as Oudtshoorn, Stellenbosch and Khayelitsha and so on that are here. The 4 learners get to be the Monetary Policy Committee for a day, if you will. One of them will be the governor. They actually do the monetary policy statement, as the governor does every 2 months, where he pronounces on interest rates. We then explain to them how the process works, what they need to do, what we expect from them. And so if they, for example, decide that they want to cut the repo rate by 25 basis or 50 basis points, they need to argue what sits behind the decision to do that. We provide them with all the economic data, the economic information that they need. We give them a sense of what the global dynamics are from an economics perspective, the domestic factors that they need to take into consideration. And at the end of the day, towards the end of the process, usually in August, they come to our head office and they come and present their findings on what they as the MPC have decided with regards to interest rates.
Why do you felt it was important for you to make this outreach and go out to these schools? And also in total, how many are these schools? And then when they go to Joburg, is it all the provinces?
Yes. So this is we do it across all the provinces. We make sure we touch everybody as far and as wide as we can. Obviously, the number of schools that participate is limited because not everybody comes to the actual challenge itself. But the highest number that we've had was 450 schools. On average, since COVID, we've been climbing back to about 400. And so basically what happens is after the provincial visits, where we tell them what to do, because it's every year, we only do it for grade 12 learners. We then go and follow it up by having this event kind of culminate into the national one.
Just the requirements?
So the requirements is that, you said it earlier, that it's grade 12 learners that study in the field of economics, finance or mathematics. Those are the 2 requirements really, economics and mathematics. And they must be, ideally we focus on public schools, but this year we've actually also opened it up to schools, so the independent schools. And so we've got 2 this year from the Western Cape participating.
Why is it important for learners to partake in economics? Because you you say there's a decline there?
Yes, so we have seen that in terms of the disciplines of economics and even in other fields, in finance, we've seen a dip happening at universities, and it's really to encourage young people to go and study economics because they're the future policy makers of this country. We need finance ministers, we need governors, we need economists that will determine what the economic policies of this country should be. And this is really our way to try and say to these young people, here's a competition, participate, you get to be the Monetary Policy Committee, but also here's an opportunity for you to go and study. Ultimately, the winning team gets a full scholarship from the Reserve Bank to study in South Africa, ideally in the field of economics and finance.
When did it start, and also any achievements over the years that you have recorded?
Yeah, so it started in 2012, so we're just over a decade old. And some of the achievements, what is interesting is that you've got schools that have been participating from the beginning, and some of them have won, but the winners come from across the country. So it's very difficult for you to know who the winners will be. We've seen sometimes teachers, new teachers come on board. There's a high level of excitement, and they participate, and then, they try and see it through till the end.
Well, thank you so much, Thoraya Pandi, Head of Communications from the South African Reserve Bank, talking to us about taking a child to work. They are trying to make sure that children are interested in studying economics and also partaking and knowing more about how this policy and economic framework works in South Africa. There are prizes to be won in this competition, and hopefully we'll have more future economists coming from this particular initiative policy.
Right, that's great news there on how the young people are being empowered. Atule, how have they received the news of this competition as it continues to go on there?
Policy, at the moment we were not unable to speak with some of the pupils, but I will also call in Thoraya to just talk to us about maybe the interest from the pupils at the moment. How are they feeling about this initiative?
Yes, so obviously during COVID we had to do it virtually, and it was very difficult because you had students that have a lot of resources and access to data and access to technology to participate, and in some of the kind of poorer areas we struggled a little bit, and so people are excited to be back. This is the first year we're doing it physically again since COVID, and the number of schools, as I said earlier, it's quite significant. So today here we've got about 30 to 40 schools, and then across the country, as I said to you, we're climbing back to getting up to 400 schools to participate.
Well, there you have it, Mkolisi. We'll try and also speak to some of the school's principal. Because of the POPIA Act, I'm not sure if we are able to speak to the children directly at this point in time, but they will also advise if we can be able to speak to them so that we can bring up that package later on SABC TV News for you.
Right, Atule Joka on that story for us. He's coming to us from the Western Cape on the South African Reserve Bank's Monetary Policy Committee Schools Challenge. They will be touching base with him, no doubt, a bit later on in the bulletin.